What look are you serving us tonight? Tell me about this look.
Oh, moi? You mean this old thing?
You mean this whole thing,
Well, I thought I would
girl?
bring you a little bit of a plunge neckline. It's not as exciting as when you do it, Brooke.
I feel like I really think you're underestimating the sexual nature of a sternum. And I love a sternum.
I'm
Very
serving full
sensual.
décolletage. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yes.
Yeah, I powdered it just for you, dear
Look at
viewers.
the look at these
So,
glasses.
oh, aren't these crazy? So that there's these websites now, it started out with Zenny Optical, and now there's like a whole bunch of websites where you can get like, and they're prescription too, because I am a little blind. So, so these are in fact prescription glasses because I'm that crazy lady. But yeah, you order them from China just like everything else. Then you have to wait like 4 to 6 weeks, and then
And then you're like, oh, it's a surprise gift. I forgot I ordered it.
and then you roll out like a queen.
Oh,
But
it's amazing.
I was feeling very 70s today. I thought like,
Yes.
yeah, like I just spilled wine on the barrel shade, and then like grabbed onto the
mm.
wood paneling and just peeled it all off. Like I'm
You
that
just
pretty
said,
guessed.
fuck it.
Yeah.
And then there was just 8 layers of wallpaper underneath, with
Yeah.
different colors of olive green.
And they're all peeling, so you can like see them all, like the little stickers you put on your license plate.
The best, yes.
The
God.
passage
Girl,
of time.
how is your week going?
Uh, can I let you know at the end of the week? Because I don't think it's going great so far.
It's not great, Bob.
Although I will say, so I do like I do technical help for my job, for my day job. And I did though, like, so there are some like long-term projects that it's not satisfying when you're like, oh, let's plan for a 2-year project. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
not like, I need the instant gratification. Like, let's get these
Right.
things done.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I did have a couple calls where people were like, hey, I've got this issue, and I was like, you know what? I've seen that issue before. So you're just like, doot, 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 doot. Have a nice day.
Just like, I love like when there's
Yeah.
like a simple tactical solution, and I'm just like, I am a genius. It's the best. It's the best feeling in the world.
You get to feel very accomplished in those 5 seconds.
Yells.
So
Oh,
how
good.
about,
Okay.
How about you, Queen? How's your week doing?
Oh, it's good. Look at that China. It's weird. It's weird. I'm in Columbus. So we are like miles from each other and not thousands of miles from each other.
Cat's out of the bag. Brooke Cardis is in town.
I had to take care of some business. Obviously would not want to travel, of course, unless I absolutely had to. So I had to take care of some business, BIZNIS, and
Ooh,
it's
business time.
It's business time. It was super weird. It was super weird to travel because the terrorist threat level is raised. Oopsie oopsie.
Oopsie koopsie. Hashtag oopsie koopsie.
Yes, hashtag oopsie koopsie. So like, I don't know, no one's really been traveling, but I kind of want to like put it out there. Like it's great. It's really interesting. Like they're searching bags twice before you get on the plane. And there's like FBI agents and stuff. It was really, and they check your license again. And I was just like, oh, okay, all right, this is weird. You know what I mean? So it was like a really weird like setup, but the week's been good and it's been busy and it's been freezing.
Oh my God.
But just a reminder, white supremacists attempted a coup. I just think it's a good reminder. It's just a good reminder.
It is, and I think that's why we should keep saying oopsie koopsie
far
beyond the point that it's still funny, because
I love it.
We
Always
have
relevant.
to remember that happened, and also like the right can never make fun of us again.
They just can't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we put in our teacups.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear it from you.
Who stormed the Capitol again?
Who was that? Was that you? Was that you? You Lulu too. So tell me about the dish. I am very excited that we did not go to gelatin, and because I had so much business in Columbus, Eileen took the task of cooking this week. So tell me everything, girl.
Well, here's the gag. It wasn't even me this week. We have a special guest chef this week.
Who's our guest chef?
A special guest daddy chef. And it's my partner. Oops. Okay, so we have let me and it's fresh.
Oh.
Fresh from the oven. This is a keto, so we're trying to like represent our original intention on the show was to represent like different dietary needs and lifestyles.
And thus far it's just been gelatin.
so far we've just been like hell food. But we are steering back towards something edible. And so what we have for you this week is a keto turkey broccoli casserole.
What's
And
on top of it?
this is panko. So it's not 100% keto. There is a little bit of there's a little bit of carbs in it, a little bit of grains.
Girl, get you some.
But yeah, so
get that dish cam on, girl.
Oh, girl, I cannot believe I even before
your dish cam is your favorite.
It is my favorite. I know. How could I deprive myself of this joy?
It's so good.
So first, let me just bring up I've already done the reveal, but I just wanted to show you the name, the keto turkey broccoli casserole, and also the difficulty for this dish is 2 thinking emojis out of 5. And the reason that it's not 1, because I do, I'm trying to shoot for easy here. I'm trying to do right by you guys. The reason this is 2 is because this particular recipe, it's not really clear when you're supposed to add things. Like, my partner told me it didn't tell me to add the salt at any point, so if I hadn't have added it to the sauce before I put everything in the casserole dish, it would have been lacking a certain
salt.
Good quality.
Right, just mostly good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those things need salt.
Yeah, so let's move on. Let me show you again. Here it is. I'll give you a little close-up on the dish cam.
Zoom it in. Yo.
There she is.
All right. No.
And now, I'm just going to go ahead and plate myself a little bit here.
Just a tiny plate. Just a teensy-weensy plate.
Just a modest portion.
I am loving, 60s is not your typical decade.
Mine?
Yeah, but I'm loving it. I really love it. That sounded like a backwards compliment from like one of those.
No, I didn't take it that way.
Those pickup artists, the guys that are like.
Oh my God. Ever since that Bob's Burger episode with the pickup artist,
the Prince of Persuasion.
yeah, with the Prince of Persuasion, I will never take pickup artists seriously again. Not that anyone should, but it used to like really get under my skin. You know what I mean?
Get on an elevator and press a higher number than her, and then make a big deal about it.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, so here we have the plated portion, and my webcam is still trying to look at my face, so it's not really.
There you go. Can you
see it? Okay, there we go.
It's figuring its life out.
So we've got some broccoli, we've got some turkey, we've got some panko and this sauce. There's also some crumbled up bacon. So this one is not any kind of vegetarian or vegan. I think you could probably make substitutions, but we'll get into that in a later episode.
I think we need to have a conversation about the lack of Vienna sausages in this dish. And I would like to personally, I'm upset about it.
Yeah, I mean...
it could use some Vienna sausage? Do you think it could?
No.
Could it use a soft tubed meat? How is it? Give us the rating.
It's pretty good. I don't actually have the ingredient list in front of me, but it tastes like there's maybe some kind of cheese in it, which is nice.
Okay.
But it's not like a cheesy cheese. It's like a very subtle cheese.
Okay, a subtle cheese.
Yeah, I would maybe put just a little bit more salt in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but when the bacon, like bacon usually does, it's kind of like the glue that holds a lot of dishes together.
Yeah.
When the bacon hits everything all together, it's really good.
I'm going to take us off topic while you have a couple more bites, and then we can get back on track. But I have to say, yes, viewers, please comment. Are you also amazed at the ability of Eileen Galvin to eat what we've now seen as multiple dishes and not fuck up her lipstick? It's as real. It's not a movie trick. I lived with her, and it would happen, and it was remarkable. It didn't matter what she was eating. It could be like a hearty stew, cake. It didn't matter. This bitch could keep her fucking makeup on. And it was amazing. And it wasn't even like there was a ton of lipstick on the fork. Like, if I eat with the lipstick I have on, it will be gone, and I will have ingested 98% of my own lipstick.
Oh my God.
Which is why people are like, oh wow, like, yeah, this lipstick's great, but it doesn't taste great. I'm like, not for me then. I look at a bite of a sandwich and I'm just like, no, I'm not. I'm all gone. Yeah. So shout outs if you haven't seen the amazingness that is Eileen Galvin eating and keeping her lipstick completely intact.
Well, thank you so much. Let me tell you about this sword of Damocles on my face right here, because you talk about sell your soul to the devil. So the great thing about glitter is you just pack it on. And just go to Joann Fabrics, get any old tube of micro glitter. Has to be small, because if you get the chunky stuff, then it just looks like you You know what I mean? It doesn't. It looks
We've
a
seen
little
it.
chunky
We've
on
seen
the
it.
lips. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get the micro glitter, just pack it on with your finger. It stays. It stays through just about everything. But when you eat or drink, you are consuming a little bit of micro glitter, which not so good for the lining of your intestines. But I mean, that's the price of being fabulous.
It just scrapes the GI tract, much like a good kale.
It's a cleanse. Excuse me. It's a cleanse on the way out. And you know what? Pretty hurts, Beyonce.
Yeah.
In the words of the immortal queen, whomst we stand.
This is what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get into the real dish today, which is, and I think we already are getting some comments in on video.
Ooh.
Oh, wait. Marissa asked, do you get it on your teeth? Great question, Marissa. And we're not talking about non-monogamy. We are talking about lipstick. You can get both on your teeth. I will say Eileen Galvin is also a pro at, if she does this very subtle tongue swipe that I think she doesn't know people notice. And it is adorable.
Rent to fill. Rent to fill.
But it's very subtle. And you'd only know it. But it's very like, and you don't know. Right? Yeah, it's just a little, yeah. But it's very cute and very subtle. Aww. And like, I'm sure if you were on a date or something, you would kind of just be like, you know what I mean? Like, no one would notice.
I'm sure like yeah, I'm sure that the etiquette style guys will probably tell you to say, did you see that couple at the door? Oh! You know? And then make a way bigger deal of it. No one would have ever noticed otherwise, but then you like call even more attention to it.
I feel like I can feel lipstick when it's on my teeth, but I can't. I am not. Teeth don't have nerves like that. Oopsie doodle. All right, oopsie goopsie. So, non-monogamy. All right, misconceptions. So we had to start with like the journey of discussing this topic, because I think it's really important as we think about it to talk about like where we came from on it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's very misunderstood. So I think, you and I have some experiences. Now let me ask you straight out, girl. You be doing non-monogamy?
Here's the thing. What I believe in and where I have landed is like on intentionality in whatever the choice is. Mm-hmm. Because I used to be like very staunchly monogamous and I had non-monogamous partners. And then it kind of like I swung the pendulum the other way and I was non-monogamous and I had monogamous partners. And really both of those situations, the problem is like not necessarily the lack of agreement, because you can function in that way, but it has to be intentional and ethical. And I think like that's where it's like, if you want to be monogamous and you want to do that, like, cool. Did you talk about it? Or was it just the default you fell into? Yeah. Right? And like, go ahead.
No. I was keep going if you got more to say. I'm just like, you know what I do? I'm just making my bullet list.
No, I think, because the first partner I had who was non-monogamous was a trans dude. We're all just, Kel Surprise, pretend to be shocked. I'm going to say it again. The first partner I had who was non-monogamous was a trans dude. As you know. Dated a few trans dudes. But here's my thing with him is that what he really described to me wasn't necessarily non-monogamy. It was mostly just like him wanting to play around and me not do anything. So I think it was a really good lesson in like, what does this actually mean? And I think part of the reason he thought he was so safe doing this with me is because I was a rookie. So, right, he kind of like, there was this feeling of, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really know what was going on. So I think it was just more like, having the conversation. And I'll tell you what confused the shit out of me the first time I was in a non-monogamous relationship was I was so confused because the woman he chose to be with alongside me was so different from me. Oh. And now, right? And now I get it. And it's like she feeds something else, but it was everything. It was like physically, emotionally, mentally so different from me that it was hard for me to be like, but how are you attracted to me?
That's hard. Do you think it's harder when someone is similar to you or when they're very different from you?
Oh, well, now I'm like, I'd much rather the differences because it's easier. It's like then there's more of like okay, this person is feeding a part of you that for whatever reason I don't really feed. And that's okay.
Yeah, I actually feel like that too because also, I mean, who else could be this? Really? No, I'm just kidding. But
Wait, ready?
Oh my God.
Girl. It was
my
right
God.
there. Isn't it?
Oh,
Oh
I'm
my God.
blushing. I feel so called out.
I have never have been told red to filth, and I think I'm going to put that on my tombstone. It's great. I'm going to get cremated, so it's going to be on someone's tombstone.
I've been watching a lot of Drag Race in the pandemic, and it's been slowly creeping into my lexicon, all of those expressions.
The best.
But
the best.
So yeah, I was just gonna say I loved your distinction between agreement, and what I would make a distinction with that is alignment, which is I think a common misconception for me about non-monogamy is that you establish these known rules, like you form the contract and then you sign the contract and then it's done. And that it can't work that way, right? Because you can't foresee all of the emotional situations that the two of you are going to encounter. And that's part of the work and the negotiation, especially when you love someone and you say, okay, so for me, like I am a person who falls in love with my primary. And then I, let's just get right into it with the honesty, with the frankness here. I consider sex and intimacy to be two different things. So for me, I can form intimacy with a sexual partner, but it is not it's not a matter of course. It doesn't just happen. So
that is like mind blowing to me.
Really?
That is not me at all.
Oh,
absolutely not.
Do tell.
Yeah, no. I just like, sex and intimacy can be so inextricably intertwined for me, which is why I think my non-monogamous relationships have involved a lot more communication because I just have to like really stay on top of my shit. And and in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And frankly, in my monogamous relationships, that benefits me. That what feels like over communication, has been really helpful for me moving through periods of monogamy or monogamous relationships because I've developed the muscle of like, and again, even in my monogamous relationships, right? Like we're at a bar and this woman starts flirting with my partner and I just sit back and watch. Like that's a level of non-monogamy that like a lot of people wouldn't consider that. But like you have to have fucking discussions around that shit or like, it's going to come up over the turkey keto casserole and it's going down.
Yeah, that takes communication skills. It takes a lot of confidence. I mean, I feel like you have to get to the place where you say, I want you to explore and to, have feelings like I love you and I want you to have enjoyable feelings with other people. And that takes a lot of confidence to say, like, at the end of the day, I know my primary and me are in a relationship that is not threatened by flirting, possible physical activity. Because at the end of the day, I would hope that we would just talk about it and say, oh, something happened. Oh, that's really great. Tell me about it,
Yeah, and I love that. And I think in all relationships, when that feeling of I was having a conversation with an ex-girlfriend because, we all just do that. I'm like, let's go to coffee. We were talking and it was like this discussion around like self-esteem and like the word self being in it. And it's like, look, I can do as much. I can't scaffold this house, right? Exclusively. This is your self-esteem.
Yeah.
I can certainly buttress it. Yeah. Right. I got one bad arm now. So it's just kind of like Nemo and his bum fin. Like I can't really use this arm that much. So, it's like, what am I really like? I of course want to buttress and, your self-esteem and your, all of the things. I want to be your partner and support that. But also like, I can't be exclusive, right? It can't just be 1 2x4. It's just a lean-to and it's not a fucking house. Right.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of say that? But I think monogamous relationships hit these walls, right? It's like, well, we were in an office party and you talked to him for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
What was that about?
Like, right. And you're like, we both like play ice lacrosse, right? It was some like specific crossover interest.
We both like kale.
Right. Who doesn't?
Oh, well, my relationship with kale developed over time. You gotta massage it. You gotta massage the kale.
You do.
Yeah.
You're in a non-monogamous relationship with kale.
I am.
You are interested in other greens.
Kale is actually my primary. Yeah.
Kale is also a great name. Someone out there named Kale.
Actually, I have a friend whose son is Kale.
Oh my God. See?
You do?
That's amazing. Yeah, but I guess what you're saying is like, if you can separate intimacy and intimacy and sex, really, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. For me, it's and it sounds like radical to say, but for me, well, first of all, I feel like for me, pleasure is a gift. And pleasure to me is a form of moral good, in that I think pleasure is something that we should seek and we should try to cultivate in others, you know? Have you read Adrienne Marie Brown's book, Pleasure Activism?
Mm-mm.
Michael Morris told me about it, and it was life-changing. And
I know Michael Morris isn't watching, but I think Michael is always guiding us, so love it.
Yeah, they just slip in every once in a while and just are like, hey, you need this book.
Just the pleasure deity.
Yes. But Adrienne Marie Brown's book, Pleasure Activism, is sort of about finding the felt ways in your body that you already know your body already knows how to feel good. So you know how to seek things that make you feel good, and you know how to sort of create a little bit of distance from things that don't make you feel good. And for me, I think you can extend that into the dynamics of relationships, which is, for me, I'm not a very possessive person in relationships. It's like, you don't belong to me in this relationship. I feel like as long as we continue to choose each other, that's a gift. But I mean, that's another thing about being trans, not to always bring it back to the trans thing, but it does,
you can and you should.
it does come up sometimes. Turns out it comes up sometimes. One thing about being trans is you realize how lucky it is when relationships last. Because I would never... I started out in a previous gender identity, and I was presenting somewhat in the middle, somewhat a little bit more like... I was in the twink space, you know? We've talked about that before on the show.
Yeah.
I was more of like a Harry Potter looking twink. And so for someone to be attracted to that and then come with me into this, of course I'm not looking like this all day, every day, but more of a like femme presentation. I mean, I went on hormone replacement therapy. I have little boobs now, and there's been some changes to my body. Like, hormones change a lot. So I would never resent somebody saying, you know what, I'm not attracted to you anymore physically. And that, I think, has reminded me that, like, relationships are about constantly checking in and saying, is this still working? That's the relationship mantra. Is this still working? Because then you can open up that conversation of, well, yes, it's working, but there's also these things that I think we should talk about. And that's so important.
Yeah. Well, when I saw, like, Elliot Page, and I actually am not 100% sure Elliot's pronouns, he or they.
I think they go by he and they.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Well, I'll use they just to keep it safe because I don't know. When I heard they broke up with their wife, I was like, transitioning with, and again, like their wife was incredibly supportive on social media, and but a relationship surviving a transition is also really, like, just statistically not as common, right? Yeah. So when you're managing that on top of everything else, it can happen, and it's yay and bravo, and comment in the chat if it happened to you, and yay, you know what I mean? So good.
Yeah. It does. It can happen, but also, I would say it can happen. It gets better, but first it has to get worse.
Well, and I think that's the other piece is hormones. While we think about, as cis people, we think about hormones. I think especially when I first started learning about the trans experience as a monolith, and just like everything else, it's fucking not. Low T, and when you're taking your dose, and topical versus shots, and all this. And same thing with, hormones, if you're going the other direction and feminizing, what does that look like? All the options, the blockers, the additives, like there's so many different things.
Oh, yeah.
So like, you can't be like, oh, my partner started hormones and this is everyone's story and this is what happened. It's like, absolutely not. Everyone's chemistry is so fucking completely different. And hopefully your medical practitioner knows about trans stuff and knows about the individual nature of all of our hormonal makeup. And you're not dealing with that. But like, so I never want to say like it's just a monolith, but I think also navigating any sort of non-monogamy while also managing a transition, in self is hard enough.
Yes.
Right. I think there's a lot there. And I think that's why it's great to have the drawbridge, right? Close it up, if you need to for a little while and reevaluate and see where you're at and see what you're into and how your boundaries have shifted. But I just think back to what you said originally about like, people think you kind of sign a contract. And I've been thinking a lot about that. And maybe it's because of my law background. I'm like, what is a partnership and what it means in terms of, like I officiated a wedding recently and I was thinking about it because I was like, oh man, like this is a contract, right? But I have stopped thinking about a relationship as a contract and started thinking about it as the Constitution. Hear me out.
Ooh,
Hear me out.
Oh, no, I'm here for this.
Okay? So there's two types of people. There's two types of people, right? There's the originalists, right? Fuck them. They're the Scalias, R.I.P., but fuck him. Like, right? That are just like, this was written by a bunch of old white dudes in wigs, and we're just going to go with it. And they owned a lot of slaves and wrote that out of the Constitution, but we're just going to go with it because they were revolutionary.
Right, it never changes.
Never fucking changes.
Yeah.
And,
which, by the way, that's what amendments are. But anyway.
So, for me, I'm more of someone who thinks about it as a living, breathing document. And that's how I think of the Constitution, and that's how I think of relationships, where it's like, I never want to come in and be like, well, you signed on the dotted line 6 years ago to this. Like, it is unrealistic for no change terms and conditions. And that's been a real shift in my thinking, truly, honestly, in the last few years, where I'm like, yeah, that's not fair. Because people change and people grow and we're complicated houseplants. And if we need to be repotted or something needs to be done, like that's just it,
That. I love that. First of all, I love plants. I'm not a pet person anymore. I had one pet in my life and it was very, very sad when she died for me.
Pour one out for Bunny.
Yeah. Our R.I.P. Lady Constance Niblington. She did not like people. The third, yes. But
you know what she loved though?
Kale. Ah, there it is.
She did love kale.
She was a woman of quality. But anyway, houseplants. I love houseplants because it's really hard. It's really hard to figure them out. It's hard to crack that nut, Some houseplants are really low maintenance and you just get them. You know what I mean? You just get them. And other houseplants, you love them, but you can't figure out how they work. And so you got to keep trying. And that's the whole thing is you have to keep trying. It's not going to just happen on the first time. Yeah,
and then they get some mold in their soil and then you got to throw them out.
Oh, sad.
I have had I have had a plant since 7th grade.
Is it that ficus, that really big ficus tree?
The rubber plant. Yeah.
Rubber
it looks
plant.
like it did look like it had ficus vibes.
Yeah. People tell me all the time she looks like a ficus.
Ficus, but she's really a rubber plant.
She's serving ficus realness.
Oh my God. Goals. Also want that on my tombstone. I'm going to have a huge tombstone. Also, no, I don't want it on my tombstone. I'm just going to put it on someone else's randomly. I think that's a better way to do it.
I love to, like, are those epitaphs? Is that what you put on a tombstone?
Yeah.
I love epitaphs. Mine would just be tears dry. Just imagine me standing next to you and being like, you gotta keep living your life. You gotta move on.
Do not fuck up your makeup. It looks so good today. Move on.
And you know what? If it does get fucked up, the Sephora is down the street.
Still go to brunch.
Yeah,
I mean,
still
this
go
is
to
after
brunch.
the pandemic, so you're not dying now. So just so you know.
Right.
We're not saying go to brunch now, y'all. Oh, no, I think it is.
Attention, gays, stand down. Stand down.
They're like, oh my God, we just need mimosas.
You told me I could go.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One of my ex-girlfriends, these aren't ever complete without ex-girlfriend stories, was like just jazzed about taking me to the Union brunch. And she took Union sometimes on this show.
We do. Why do we just have a fixation? I'm not sure why.
We do. No, but like she raved about it. Like we had been to brunch all over the city and she's like, you have to do Union brunch. And here's the thing. I will not talk ill of anything else about it, but the bacon was like limp. And there is just nothing worse than limp bacon. And I will.
I will, because I think, you know what? I think criticism is an opportunity to do better. So I would just say, if I were speaking directly to Union, I would just say, do a little bit better. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it was just in that thing, right? And the condensation is coming down on it and you pull it and it's just wet.
Yeah.
It's just wet bacon. Nobody...
Don't rest on like, hey, yes, we have camaraderie, we have safety, like this is a safe space. Like, yes, and if I were going to rate the brunches in Columbus, Union would not be at the top of my list. That's all I'm saying.
I know, it was rough. What else about non-monogamy do we need to cover?
Well, we have to talk about we have to talk about, I don't know what a sequitur to this is, but we said we were going to talk about it. We have to talk about gifts.
Oh, yes. I want you to get in the chat and tell me
Yes.
what is the most ridiculous gift you've given or received.
Yes. Because gift giving, first of all, is hard. And second
That's
of all,
why.
yeah.
And second of all,
Well, no, I was just going to say gift giving is sort of like it's sort of like a microcosm of relationships overall. Because,
yeah.
right? Because to give a gift means, I think implicitly, that you know somebody and you know what they like and they know what is important to them. So there are really right ways to give gifts, and then there's like really, really bad ways to give gifts.
I think like it's interesting because it's such a part of WASP culture to know what to get.
Yeah, or the pressure to know what to get.
Right. But you don't. You never really know. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm horrible at it. Every once in a while, I feel like I really nailed that gift. And you never really know because people are going to be polite. I love it.
I know. I've had like, I've gotten a gift for a family member for like years and years, kind of along a similar theme. And I finally like asked someone else what they thought of, like, you know, if they liked it. And they were like, oh, I don't know if so-and-so likes it, but I know they've returned it at least a few years in a row. And I was like, oh my God, like I cannot, are you serious? But like they said it in a way where it was like, it doesn't matter, there's still value when they return it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't a thing, but I was mortified as a WASP. I was mortified.
Well, and sometimes gifts can be a good way to give you a little internal view into maybe why things are not going to work out. Like,
You
not
ready?
that would be the only thing, but it could be the tipping point.
Put it up. Just do it.
All right,
I'm
are we
ready.
gonna
Just
are we
rip
gonna put
the
it up?
Band-Aid off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm out of wine.
I don't know if you guys
like a bad idea.
I don't know if you guys are ready for this. I don't know if you guys are ready for this necessarily.
I'm not.
I love this story. This is one of my very favorite stories.
Oh my God. Is it up?
It is up.
Okay. So
Do you want to
I wanna
explain how this lovely piece came to be in your...
well, I want to hear in the chat if people know what they are. If they know what this is.
Oh my God. Someone just said yes.
Oh my God.
But
oh no. Okay.
But
so,
Kyle, plus 50 points if you could tell us what it is.
Yes. If you can tell us what it is, that would be great. Okay. So I'm not going to say what it is yet because I want to see if anyone can guess.
What a necklace. That's what someone else says.
What a necklace.
Yes,
Oh my
indeed.
God. Yes. So to me, it kind of looks like an onion.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I could see
in the
that.
ground.
Yes,
right?
DA on YouTube got it. It is, in fact, a clitoris.
Yes. I
Yes.
wish I could say you won a necklace but that thing's like $500. So no, I'm not buying that. We're not there yet emotionally, but we'll get there soon.
Yeah.
I wish I could send it. Maybe I could cut it out of paper and send it to you. So this necklace was sent to me after I had ended things with someone. So they had sent it, mailed it from the artist, and it arrived after we broke off things.
I mean, it's classy.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Get in the chat. I don't know. Get in the chat. YouTube. I don't know what you do. So here I am, $450 clitoris necklace, like you do.
$450 worth of clitoris right there.
Right there, gold plated
Mm-hmm.
clitoris on it, which is weird because that's also mine is also gold plated, so it's like super uncomfortable that it looks so similar. You know what I mean?
Is it like an old-timey filling?
It's like Marv's gold tooth from Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You dropped something.
Did I?
I'll never tell.
Oh my God. So I sat at a table, this is pre-pandemic, with Maria, who's in the chat on Facebook, and Eileen, sitting with this clitoris necklace in the middle of the table, like it was a kilo of Coke. We were like, what do we do? We unpacked it. It was in the brown paper bag. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's a one-of-a-kind piece. It's from this amazing artist who actually also has done a TED Talk about the power of letting women control their own sexuality and family planning and how that ties to strong economic markers. So it's an incredible mission. It's an incredible artist, but I don't want to be indebted to somebody who we ended things.
Right. There's so many complicated pressures. First of all, you got this from someone you wouldn't care to hear from ever again.
Right.
Second of all, it's from a really great, like, speaker, author, like, cause. It's from a really great thing. So you feel sort of like this pressure to, like, appreciate it in some way. But also you're like, how do I get rid of this as quickly as possible?
Right.
And also it's really expensive. So there's a special place in Wasp Hell for, like, getting an expensive gift and then not knowing, like, how to return it in such a way that is, like, financially responsible to the person that got it for you.
And, like, this has happened to me,
which is ridiculous, by the way.
Which I want to point out, I don't know why, but I've had girlfriends give me expensive jewelry right after a breakup, and I need to, like, maybe address this with someone, because this has happened to me before. But this particular situation was difficult because, like, I was like, it's a one-of-a-kind piece. How do I return it to this artist? Right?
Yeah.
It's not like I can return it to, like, JCPenney.
Excuse me, Kohl's? Like, do you... I believe that this clitoris necklace is in your...
What's that store that's just, like, salmon wallpaper? What that you love?
Salmon wallpaper.
And, like, it's at the mall, but I've never heard of it. And, like, there's... What is it called? Von Maur.
Oh, Von Maur. Okay, next time we could talk about my adventures in Von Maur.
Oh, yes, we will. So, we decided on, which I don't know if this was the right choice, was a thoughtful letter to the artist where I talked about...
Yes, Sophie, which... Melissa Vogley-Woods, hello, I love you. Yes, Sophie was the name of the artist.
Sophie Wallace.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Yes.
Look her up. Worth it. If you are in the market for a $400 clitoris necklace, she's your gal.
Yeah. Lean in.
Also, that sounded really condescending. She's your woman.
Oh,
but well, she's no one's
HR.
woman. I'm just, I don't know what to do. Anyway,
sorry. Please continue.
Who is Covered Dish HR? We're going to need an HR director. So we wrote a thoughtful letter. We all think tanked it, and we sent it out to give the person a full refund in the spirit of her mission, which is to drive, like, feminine empowerment.
Yes.
And me not being indebted was a part of my empowerment. And I got the nicest note back from her. Did I tell you that?
You did. That's the best part of the story, because the rest of it is just a really awkward situation with an ex that you don't want to hear from, and they got you this gift that is, like, really great in a way, and you're trying to explain it to Sophie Wallace. And that's like,
and I'm like over-revealing everything.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, I can never go to Brooklyn again. Anyways, that is my story. I will be putting up on my Instagram, not gay as in happy.
Yes.
I will be, with underscores in between each, I'll be putting up a story about telling me about the worst gift you've ever given or received. So please let me know your stories so I can share them next week. We'd love to hear from you in Facebook and on YouTube as well. Tell us your embarrassing stories. We'd love to read them next week.
Yeah.
Because I know we're running short on time, but
well,
I truly will never forget sitting there with it in front of us. It really felt like a drug deal that went awry.
I don't know how to explain the experience of the freshly opened package, the three of us, like, leaning over it and staring at it and just thinking, what now? You know?
And it is a thoughtful gift. I'm going to pause and say...
Under any other circumstance, it's an amazing gift.
If you are looking, it's almost Valentine's Day, which I don't celebrate. I celebrate President's Day. So we'll talk about that next time. But if you are looking to celebrate President's Day, this gold-plated clitoris necklace supporting an artist in Brooklyn, New York is the way to do it.
You know what makes me think president? I'm sorry.
What is it? It looks, I can't figure it out. That is a very good clitoris impersonation. And if you said to me, do your best clitoris impersonation.
You would not ask me.
Because, no, I might. That was good.
Because I don't want to spoil the fantasy for all you strapping young gentlemen at home, but I don't have one.
Honestly, the way that looks, it looks like that bad guy from Pirates of the Caribbean with all those tentacles.
The sort of like Cthulhu looking guy.
Yeah, so you're actually probably better off with that one.
Yeah, Davy Jones or whatever his name was.
Yeah. Yes. So I feel like that's better off.
Yeah, girl. Any last things that we need to touch on, that we need to address?
That we need to touch on. We just need to.
I mean, we got all night.
I know, girl. We got all night because no one's going to brunch.
I know. Sometimes when we do this, I don't even want to sign off because it's like, then I need to take my makeup off. And whenever I get ready like this, I just want to take the night by storm. That's what we should talk about next time. Next time we should talk about how to deal with the like burning urge to go out when all you can do is knit. You know what
I'm sure everyone will tune in. Do we have a solution?
We're going to find one.
We're going to find a solution.
Yeah.
You ever like go in full makeup and just like go on a power walk? Or is that not?
I did that early pandemic. I put on full face. I looked like Juno Birch, alien just landed on Earth, like to go grocery shopping. But the experience is very underwhelming because not only it doesn't last very long, but also people at the grocery store are not trying to. No one's being like, "Yes, queen, slay." You know what I mean? No one's doing that at the grocery store. So they're just kind of like they just try to steer around you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Which I don't blame them for that. I'm not saying people like owe me attention, but can I please get some? Can I get some?
I'm just looking for attention.
Here's the thing about that's another topic, not necessarily for next time, but at some point we should talk about the like the batshit craziness of being a performer.
Yes, I think for that we're going to need a guest star because I would love that. So
do that.
if you know someone who would want to be a guest star or you want to be a guest star, go ahead and comment.
I don't know. Let me check my Rolodex. Let me see. Maybe I know a performer.
A performer of 30.
Yes.
Eileen Galvin, you are as always a delight. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Please share our Facebook Live feed and our YouTube link. We'd love to hear from you, what you like, what you don't, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, which is not us. You will see all of us. Let us have it. No one's going to brunch. Give us something to complain about.
Yeah.
And we will be back, as we are always, every Tuesday at 7 for Covered Dish.
Covered Dish, girl.